a note that is allegedly a suicide note that Jeffrey Epstein wrote. And again, just to back up for a second, in July of 2019, this was a month before Epstein died. He allegedly attempted to commit suicide. I don't even know if allegedly is the proper word there. He had a suicide attempt that the prison noted. Again, skeptics might say that the prison was just preparing people. However, it was reported that there was a suicide note that he wrote, but this was reported by his cellmate. That note has not been seen by anyone until, a month or two ago. It was unsealed by the court. I want to show this on the screen, and I want to read what the suicide note says quickly and then get your take on this note. So this is what it looks like. And this is what it says. It's not signed. There's no names on it. It says, they investigated me for months, found nothing. So 16-year-old charge results. It is a treat to be able to choose one's time to say goodbye. What you want me to do? Bust out crying? No fun, in all caps, not worth it. So I guess my first question is this suicide note real in your opinion? Is this authentic? Did he really write this?
I absolutely believe it's real. And I broke that story almost 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Most of these outlets aren't crediting me, but I've talked about the suicide note in depth and I've quoted it. I was never able to get the unsealing of it. I guess maybe I wasn't, versed on how to go about that. So I was happy that the New York Times was able to get it unsealed. And that's what sparked all of this, dialogue that's happening right now. But I've always believed the suicide note is real. And that's, in fact, why I do feel like Nick has a credible case when he says, because Nick's story hasn't changed. I know we'll get to him, but I do believe that note is real. I do believe Epstein was in, I think he was miserable in that is a terrible prison. If you know anything about MDC, it is a hellish facility. So yeah, I absolutely believe. And it's been looked over by a handwriting forensic expert. It's been validated. Nick finds the suicide note in a book in his bunk. So Epstein had left it in a book that Nick was reading, knowing that
in Epstein's bunk or in Nick's
in
bunk?
Nick's bunk. He actually left it. So Nick went to bed, and Nick's an avid reader, so he's always reading. And so he had whatever book he was reading at the time. He claims Epstein put it in there. And so after this was happening and Epstein was being interrogated by the prison, he says that Epstein, he lifts up the suicide note and he's like, "You forgot your suicide note, asshole." And Epstein, he says, mouths through the glass window, like, "I'm sorry." And so this has always been the story that Nick has told for the last 2.5 years since I've talked to him. It hasn't changed. And I think now it's starting to prove that everything Nick told me, at least regarding this situation in this case, there's supporting facts and evidence that are surfacing.
Who sealed the suicide note? Like, where was that sealed and why? I don't understand that.
Well, Nick wonders that too. Nick's also, in reflection, in hindsight, he's asking a lot of these questions too. He turned over the note to his lawyer right away. He said, like, here's Epstein's suicide note. And it is documented. In the files, there is documentation of this resuscitation and Nick, helping him or saving his life, really. But he says he gave the note to his attorney, and the attorney turned it over to the judge, and then no one saw it again.